This is Justin AMZN on Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. So we did come back down and put in a red candle today, bearish candle, inside day, and tagged this X marks the spot that yesterday I was saying, well, we're a little early, maybe we'll hit it again. I was hoping that we would actually push up a little bit higher into 32.48.95 and then roll over. Instead, we gapped down, went sideways for about half an hour, and then started kind of going a little bit lower, and we really, that's not what I meant to do. Let's see if we can go back. There we go. It's a little better. Okay. So we pretty much just rode down the 5 for a while. We pushed up a little bit through it here, rallied for about 25 minutes. That was really kind of the most bullish buying that happened. There were some lower wicks. So some of these candles were actually looking a little bit more bearish earlier. But this was actually a really good retest and rollover on the put. A good place to buy the put up here, but you didn't know it was going to roll over here. It just as easily could have pushed up into the 21, just like this time pushed into the 21 and then rolled over. I was in bullish in here, trying to get a little bit higher of a target, tiny bit higher, and I shouldn't have been. I should have just getting out. Should have gotten out here, I think, for 2.5 R. Instead, I had moved up my stop and got trailed out for a little under an R. I had my stop at an R and then had a little bit of slippage. So yeah, ended up still winning on that one. Actually took a bullish trade earlier in the day. I took 3 bullish trades today. How crazy is that? But those are the setups I got, and lost in the first one, minus 0.81 R, 1.95 R in the second one. And then I was in, let's see, what was it? It was over here. It was over here somewhere. And I made 2.23 R. So overall, it was 2.37 R day. Was really looking for a move over here to come back up to this, and then it would have been 3 R on that one trade. But I moved my target down to 2 R and got positive slippage. So this time it was filled at 2.23 R instead of right at 2. So that was good, at least to get that. And then this rolled over too. So I was looking for some bullishness to come in after it came down and tagged this this level. And so we got a little bit of that resistance. I was actually buying, didn't quite buy the low. I bought on this candle, I think it was 11.14, and wrote it up here. And it's sad to say, from this kind of a move, I only ended up with a little under an R because I feel like it should have been more. But got to check the feelings at the door, right? This is the market. You just you trade how the setups play out. So was still happy to come away with a positive gain on that and get back the loss. So I was positive after the 2 trades, which was good. That's always a good result. So anyway, looking at the options. So the 32.50 call here, just losing value for a while. Here's that 25 minutes of buying, which really did not amount to much right here. Like that was all it moved, really. That's it. And then rolled over. So with only this amount of rallying, it seems like there's still a little bit higher could have gone to get into this low or these lows up here. It's like, okay, that would be a push into the 21. So I wouldn't be looking at this to tell me it's about ready to roll over. I would look for it to come up a little bit higher and then roll over. Similarly, this was actually turned into 30 minutes of positive candles on the call, even though mixed in here, this candle on the 5-minute was actually bearish. This candle was bearish, and this one was actually bullish, but it was bearish on the call. So these candles here, they kind of had a mix of bullish and bearish differently than these colors turned out. So it's just interesting to see that play out. That there's something going on. And when I see that happening, that's like, oh, I'm getting bullish candles here. Wait, I'm getting bearish candles here. It's usually something to hang on to. And sure enough, we did get that push a little bit higher. I just wanted it to continue back up a little bit more. But then when it got up this high, it was right at this previous resistance, almost at that same level. Once this high wave candle came in, I should have been out. So that's kind of hindsight, what I should have been doing. And then again, it could have pushed right back up into these lows that was only a few points higher. And so, holding out for a few points and then getting trailed out. And it wasn't the 3250. No, it was a 3250. So I was in this at, what was it, 550? Yeah, I got filled at 550, stopped down at 450. And so target was 850. And you can see it almost got there. 835 was the high, 830 was the high in this candle. It's like it's almost there. And over here, the high was 873. I thought for sure it was going to get back up to 850. It did not. This candle came in, and this candle trailed me out. I had moved my stop up to 6.5, so at least I'd lock in an R. And again, with slippage, I got 0.95 R, which I was still happy with because that was more than the loss I had taken in the first trade. And then I moved in a little bit closer to the 32.25 option call. That way, it didn't have to move as much. And so I was in over here at 8. What was it? I was in over here like it was 8. I think it was on this candle. I got filled at 8. So I didn't buy the low today on either of the trades. And I was out at 1023 because I had moved my target down. And so the 10, let's see. Oh no, it was over here. Yeah, it was over here. So I was in at 8, somewhere over here, and I was out at 1023. What was it here? Yeah. So I held through this a little bit, and then I was out at 1023 here. And had I not moved anything, had I kept the target at 11, it would have hit 11 over here, which is interesting to see. So that actually would have worked out if I had not tightened up my stop at all. So yeah, I was just trying to lock in a little bit of a gain on this move, and was getting out, anticipating it wasn't going to continue moving up like I wanted it to, and just trade the chart. And then, obviously, we moved down all day. It's easy to see that in hindsight. Easy to see that we stayed below the 21 for a while. So any of these, looking at the 30-50 put, there were some really nice places to buy. There were some nice hammers through here, really nice hammer here, really nice hammer here. I really like this hammer at 920, and then the inside candle next to it. And you could literally be buying the inside candle here. You could be buying 6x5. The only issue is if it were to push up to the 21, you'd be wrong and you'd be out. Wrong on that setup. And it did make, this candle actually made a higher high than this candle. But it, there weren't as many people buying the puts here. So anyway, from there, if you had bought at 6 with a stop down at 5, your target would have been 9, and it hit 9 pretty quickly here. And then on the next, you wouldn't even been in for the whole roll down, and then it retested. And so after 25 minutes of some buying, it's like, oh, that's a really good place to be getting in bearish. Sure enough, there's another opportunity here where it pulls back, and this is actually pulling back into this resistance. So you can see I'm holding the cursor here. The highs here that were acting as resistance are now this new support here and here and here and here. So the initial resistance on the day worked out really well on the rest of the 30-50 candles throughout the day here. And so this was pulling back into almost 7. Wow, 7.1. It looks like 710. Man, it looks like you could have been buying, what was this one? Oh, so that one actually pulled back below 7. 698, 7 exactly, 710. So out of all of these, really like 725, 750 is where you could have been setting it up all day. It would have worked. Now you didn't know all day it would have worked. Obviously, we're looking at hindsight. But if you had gotten in, even if you got in 8x7, it looks like it could have worked. Getting an 8 would have been a target of 11, so that would have filled over here, or at least over here. Each time it moved down, and then you let it retest, and this retest, it still came back to the same option level as over here. So that's a really, this is what I should have been doing, is getting out of this one and looking at the 30-50 in order to get in, see this low here, and be like, oh, let me see if I can buy the low and try to get in at 7, and would have filled at 7, which then I could have said I bought the low, but that didn't happen. But again, in hindsight, that's what I should have been doing, getting out here on the call, getting in, different call, getting in on the put and letting that ride for 3 hours. So if I had gotten in at 7, target would have been 10. It would have been in for a very quick move, quicker than the bullish move, probably because the trend for the day has been bearish. So I probably could have held on to that one, but it would not. If I got in at 7, my 8R target would have been 15. It didn't get up to 15. I would need to be closer for that to happen. So that would have been like the 3100 put. That would have been closer, but let's see if that gave a good range on the candles to get that set up. So if I should have been getting out of a bullish trade and getting into a bearish trade, would this have set up something? These candles are a little bit too wide, 1.52, 1.35 on the range. So let's see, did it have a previous level? So the low here is 1320. So it come back down to 1320. Not quite, but 1350. And where was this? 14. So buying 14 by 13 would have worked, 14 being the high here. We even ran back down into some, so same thing as the 3050 put. The resistance here worked out to be support here and here. So I really could have set that up again, or done 14 by 13. And this is closer to at the money. It's near the money, nearer to the money than the 3050. So this is where I could have set up to get in 14 by 13, and then a 3R target would have filled here. So if I was able to cancel that order, that would have been my initial setup, was get in at 14 and target of 17. And if I was quick enough, I could have canceled that. And even just with all of this move, it's like, well, it should go back up there. So my 8R, I probably would have set up the 8R initially. So 14 plus 8 is 22. Yeah, because 22 is here. It didn't even have to get to the high. It had to get to these upper wicks, and it did that on this candle. So that would have been a little bit, a little nerve-wracking to hold through 20 minutes of it going mostly sideways on the 5 minute. And you can see here it's going sideways here, because I would have gotten my stop up to 17 almost after getting filled. I mean, 20 minutes or 15 minutes later, we're way up here. I could easily set my stop at 17 and just wait for it to hit the 22. And that's one of the hardest things to do, is just set up the trade and let it be. So yeah, that would have been a great setup. And then 14 would have worked again here. Would not have hit 22, but this would have been a good place to look for a 3R, a 3R move. And then over here, it did hit 14 again. So same thing as the 3050 put, this opening level, place to buy, place to buy, place to buy, place to buy at 14. Now you would have had to do 14 each time, but let's say you did that. Let's say somehow you did that here. That would have been easy 8R, easy 8R, easy 3R, easy 3R. That's 22 Rs trading the same option all day long. And that would have been really cool. So yeah, let's look for more days like this. And I mean, if you just play it bearish, that's great. If you mixed in some bullish trades, it's even more Rs. So let's say I should have had 3R on a trade over here and then 22 Rs on all of these. That would have been a 25-hour day, and I'm sitting at, what did I say, 2.37 R. So, let's say 25 is the max that you would, maybe think to get, but you can't think of it that way. You got to think of, what are my setups? What can it do? What are the signals? What am I taking? What's a typical day? I don't have a 25-hour typical day. Nowhere near that at this point, but I'm going to keep studying and getting better, because practice makes permanent, and that's what we're doing. Hope this helps. This is Justin, AMZN. Thanks.